welcome to the Spectacle program on Television Nigeria. My name is Daniel Atai, your host on the program. Shortly after this time out, I shall be introducing today's topic of discussion to you for your listening pleasure. Thanks for staying tuned. Welcome back. Today we shall be looking at African Continental Free Trade Area that Mr. President just signed, how it can revamp our moribund industries in Nigeria. And my guest today is Reginald Nnabue Eke Anyang. Reginald is the facilitator of African Industrial Revolution and the CEO of Different Approach Development Foundation, Nigeria Limited. He is also the chairman and CEO of Sagaso Worldwide Ghana Limited. Reginald, welcome to Television Nigeria.
Nice to be here, sir. Thank you so much.
Welcome. Yes, sir. Now, the federal government and state government must take advantage of this trade pact we had. We have a lot of economic values that should come out from the African Continental Free Trade Area, just signed by Mr. President last week at Republic of Niger in Niamey. Now, what do you actually think will benefit from this pact?
Every industrialist will tell you this, that his greatest asset or our greatest asset is the market. Just imagine that I make maybe orange juice from Nigeria. If I have an African market that is presented to me, it gives me access to unlimited productivity.
Yeah.
Because you see, if you do not realize that it is what you produce that you are able to distribute, that people are able to access, that creates wealth, then you won't really make a good living out of what you're doing. You see, industrialization is something that we must take very, very seriously. And AFTA presents to Nigeria the opportunity for us to become whom we used to be. Nigeria used to be a country that produced virtually most of what we consumed. Yeah. And that brings me to something. I want to read a portion of a book.
Okay.
From a book about what Winston Churchill said some time ago. Yeah. He said, the further backward you look, the further forward you are likely to see.
Okay.
And apart from that, we need to be conversant with where we are coming from before we can determine where we are going.
Okay. The further backward you look,
yes,
the further forward
you are likely
to see.
Now, you will remember that I keep saying it. Our fathers were not poor. Nigeria was not a poor country.
That reminds me what Professor Peter Agbese said here last 2 weeks, okay, that sometimes he quoted Professor Aluko of the University of Jos, okay, and he said, what does it really take us to go backward?
Yes. And
he said, gave an instance of 1978 where a Volkswagen car, yes, was being sold for just 2,500. Yes. And today you can't afford the one tire of that Volkswagen car. Yes. Are we really moving forward or we are moving backward?
What happened to us is that we lost the right attitude that creates great wealth for a great people. Nigeria is a very great nation. But if you look today, you see that we have been rubbished across the continents of the world. Our people have been bastardized. Our people have faced all manner of degradation of humanity, yeah, because we became poor. Our fathers were not poor, not because we had oil. Our fathers were not poor because we had jobs. We had industries.
Yeah,
we had so many industries spread across the spectrum of Nigeria.
Now, okay. Yes. Now, coming back to the number of industries we used to have, we'll relate the signing of AFTA, the African Continental Free Trade Zone, to these industries that are moribund already in Nigeria. Of course, the industries in Nigeria that used to provide jobs and boost the economy of Nigeria, like we remember, are number one, the Dangazo carpet in Kaduna. We used to have the Okim biscuit in Kwara, the Nasco carpet in Jos, the Berek batteries in Lagos, the Leyland truck in Ibadan, the stair trucks in Bauchi, the Benue cement, now Dangote cement, Boko. We also have the Benue bomb bricks, Otupu, the Benue Taraku mills. We have the Benue breweries, or Shopee Light in Lagos. We have Jobitex sardines in Lagos, where they produce sardines. We have Debo Electronic, Lagos. We have Volkswagen, Nigeria, in Lagos. We have Volkswagen in Jos too. Then we have Jos breweries that produce the rock. We have Bender breweries in Skor. We have Bata in Lagos. Afri-Print Textiles in Lagos. We have Pan, Kaduna. We have Anamako in Anambra State. We have Bedford Trucks in Ogun State. We have Skoa and Kingsway. Leventis also in Lagos. Ibru in Ibadan. Ibadan Fishery, Ibru Fishery in Ibadan. Then we have Gongoni Petrochemicals in Kano. We have Henke Petrochemicals also, I think in Kaduna. We have CFAO. We have PZ. We have Arewa Textiles in Kaduna. We have Vet Fruit in Jos. We have Nifo in Benin. We have Dunlop Tires in Lagos. We have Michelin Tires in Lagos. We have Nafcon in Port Harcourt. We have Granite Pyramid Kano. We also have Pig Milk, where these cattle we used to suck, they used to produce local milk, even also industrial milk for us in those days. While we were growing up, we found the country to be very, very, lively.
That's correct.
The livelihood of the average Nigerian and Africans were not this poor, not this harsh. Today, what has gone wrong with us?
The closing down of these factories, these industries was the problem.
The factor.
Yes, the factor that has made us poor. Imagine how rich we were. We were rich not because of oil. Oil was supposed to be an addition.
Yes.
But oil was not supposed to be a substitute for industry. Because a people who depend on the sales of oil would have to pray for the international market oil prices to favor them. And even at that, it doesn't do anything. Let me say this again to us.
It wasn't even our foreign exchange earning.
No, it wasn't our foreign exchange earning. That was
we
why
were using agricultural produces for our foreign exchange earnings those days.
That was why when in the 80s, Naira was better than the dollar.
Of course.
Because we had commodity goods. We manufactured.
It was only the pounds that was...
Yes, was a little bit better than
just
Naira.
One pound was 2 Naira then.
It was even less than 2 Naira then.
We were productive then.
Yes, we were productive. But remember, like you said, after presents Nigeria an opportunity to revamp its industrial history. Because you see, the race is on now for industries in Africa.
So every nation. Saying Mr. President did well by signing the pact.
Mr. President did the best thing that Nigeria has ever done in recent years by signing that agreement. Because let me explain something to you. You see, the agreement forces us to choose to become industrialized again. Okay. Already we are in problem because we are now an import-based country where we import 90% commodity.
Consuming nation.
Consuming nation. Now, so which means we export 90% jobs. Remember, like we keep saying, it is the jobs that prosper the people. It is not the crude that prospers the people. That's you see, correct. It is the industries that prospers the people. Yeah. Imagine all these industries you have just mentioned. If all of us if we still had these industries, we would have had minimum millions of jobs available, good jobs, which was what our fathers had.
Yeah.
That was the reason why our fathers didn't need to travel to anywhere. My father didn't have to travel to anywhere. Okay. In fact, when he was even traveling, he didn't need visa. Because you see, our country was so great that we didn't need visa to go to anywhere.
And today, the American and Europe countries, they make millions of naira daily from visa application.
Because we have become poor. Yes, we have become poor.
I know the U.S. embassy in Abuja here could make up to 3 million naira.
Yes.
From just visa application, because per head you pay 60,000.
Okay, so now look at it.
And
see,
not guaranteed.
We need to go back to the basics. We need to see, like I keep saying, AFTA has presented us another opportunity, because now it gives us opportunity to do trade with
all African countries.
Now, when it comes to Africa, we have some measure of advantage, which we must take advantage of. Now, it means that we can enter into new trade agreements. It means we can enter into productivity. It means that we can rise from the shackles of imports. Yes. We can actually go back to revamp. We have to re-engineer.
How do you think this is possible within the short frame of time? Because people are seriously agitating, and the process of economic building is really hitting hard on the common man. And sometimes people also play politics with this. When you are trying to revamp an economy, the process of revamping, of course, takes some pains.
Yes.
And for instance, you talked about we need to start production. Production doesn't just come within 24 hours. It is a process-led scheme that can bring production to be.
Already, the productive system is already existing, just that we forgot how to operate them, just that we gave up on them.
Who forgot them? Who are we forgot them? Are you talking about our leaders? Because I didn't forget anything.
No, all of us forgot everything, because if we all had not forgotten it, we would have forced our leaders to stick to what has been working for us. You see, our leadership, I keep saying, is an exact reflection of the mindset of the average Nigerian. We actually think that political leadership is an opportunity for you to make money.
Yeah.
But you see, that is the wrongest thing. You see, political leadership is not an opportunity for you to make money.
So how did we get here? If our fathers were not like this, so how did we get here, and what do we need to do now to get out of it?
That is what I'm saying.
Okay.
First of all, we need to re-engineer our thinking. We need to remember that it is manufacturing, it is production of commodity goods that makes a country rich.
So why do these leaders, all this while, even before now, have stopped, thinking the way you are talking about?
Because they don't understand it. Like I from my conversation with a few friends in the past few days, our fathers had the mindset of industrialization, like the white man, just immediately past independence. Yeah. So they followed the same processes that they learned from their participation with the West. Okay. And they actually, like Nkrumah was very, very, very vocal and forward on the fact that we must separate ourselves. We must become independent from imperialism.
Economically.
Yes, economically, which means that we have to become self-sufficient. We have to be able to take care of our needs. It meant that we will have to make sure that our factories are functioning. Let me say this to you. You remember in the past that we used to have works and housing.
Yes.
Works and housing used to build our roads.
Of course.
Where is works and housing today?
It's still existing on paper.
It's still existing on paper, but now we have the Chinese companies. And those Chinese companies are also state organizations like works and housing. And you remember now that, imagine the amount of jobs that have been lost
from works
and housing alone. Number two, you will see that, you said
so
something.
Originally, the works and housing have those equipment.
Yes.
They have those machines.
Yes.
And they have the labor force.
You know something? Apart from the fact that they had those machines, at that point, we also began to already practice technology. Because you know what industry does? Industry comes with training. It comes with improvement.
Yes.
It comes with development.
Yeah.
It comes with capacity building.
Yeah.
Are you getting me? Now, so if you consider, you find out that, like you said, you were saying something about Volkswagen. Then we could buy Volkswagen for any amount. My father went to buy, my dad bought a Peugeot pan, brand new. How much? 5,000 naira then. Why? Because he was in Kaduna. We were in Kaduna. He was the British American insurance company.
5,000 now cannot even buy
it won't buy a tire.
Peugeot car.
We had what do you call it? Michelin.
Yeah.
We could afford to export. And remember that because you are locally manufacturing, exports, forex exchange, economy building, it gives you your GDP. I get me, improves everything. But apart from that, it also improves the lives of the individuals who earn from the work that is produced. That is produced from doing those things.
Now I know the benefits of industrialization.
Yes.
What will it take us to start to ensure that these industries are revamped? I'm talking about stringent measures, regardless of whatsoever political animosity and mendacity, that we will get here again. We will go back to the oldies as it used to be, that this is Nigeria where you can afford to buy a car with 5,000 naira. You can afford to buy the tire of your car with 1 kobo or 1 naira. You understand? You could afford to build to stay in a rented apartment built by Works and Housing for just maybe 1,000 naira in a month.
We need to re-engineer our thinking, the attitude. You see, the attitude is responsible for the action. The average attitude is that we can import everything, we can buy everything. But if you buy everything, you lose everything. Exactly. Because in buying, you lose what makes you rich. Now, you see, let's look at the issue of the local government, for instance, the funding that the federal government just makes sure that the local government has access to. Mm-hmm. I think that we need to give the local government chairman what to do with the money. If not so, it will be business as usual.
It has begun.
Yes.
The governors are still controlling them.
The governors are still controlling them because they have nothing. They don't even have an idea of what to do with the money. But let me say this to you. We can take advantage of the funding that has been given to the local government to ensure that each local government begins to fund the production, the manufacturing, or the processing of local resources. Within his jurisdiction. So which means that each local government chairman and each local government system needs to go back to look at what do we have?
What we used to have.
What do we have? And how did we manage what we used to have? Yes. Because you see, you need to go back to doing what you used to do that made you who you were.
To become productive.
Yes, to become the same person.
Stabilize,
become the same person that you were. Because you see, I keep saying, Nigeria was not a poor country.
It was never.
We were so rich.
I am still a living witness.
We were so rich that we hosted Festac. You see, it was not the oil money that was Festac.
Yes.
No, we were already rich before oil came. We were rich in manufacturing. We were rich in industry.
As a matter of fact, we have 24 world-known mineral resources underground that have not been tapped, excavated.
Because you see, that's what I'm telling you, that the attitude is wrong. We have coal. We are not exploring. The mineral resources you're talking about, we have gold. We have, something, there's something else, please. Let me stress this point. You see, I'm told, like my company in Ghana, I recently set up, I was able to gather all the people that in one of the regions, ginger production. Okay? Now, but you see, when I went, I created a coalition of owners. And then I was saying to them, I said, we are going to process. We are not going to export ginger. Okay? Now, I'm told that in some states in Nigeria here, the Chinese come, they buy cashew nuts. Yeah. The cashew itself on the tree, before it's even ripe, before the cashew is harvested, they remove the nuts. And then they leave the fruit. Okay, now let me tell you this. If I have access to the leadership of the communities where this is happening, with just negotiation, you see where our problem lies. Our problem lies in the fact that we are not taking advantage of our what is our strength. What we have. There is what is called negotiation, strategic negotiation. I can get the Chinese people to bring the machines to process the fruits if they must have the nuts. You can actually demand that the Chinese will not have access to the nuts except there are machines to process the fruit because the fruit goes to waste. Number two, we can actually insist that you will not even have access to our nuts except you do first level processing, like we said before. First level processing is very, very important in the actualization of job creation for the community. So imagine all the local governments in Nigeria implementing a negotiation platform where you demand. It is a war.
Yes.
Okay, see, industrialization is a war, and we need to understand that this war must be fought with purpose and focus.
But the politicians will not accept anyone who wants to
fight. The politicians are doing what they are doing because the people have become silent. The people have themselves.
So the people should revolt.
It's not revolt. It is a mental revolt before you get physical results.
Okay.
This is what I'm saying. We need the people to understand that
emancipate themselves from the mental
resources the actual resource is not the natural resource. The actual resource is the processing of the natural resource. So we can get the local government chairman with the resources they have now. They used to have 5 million naira. Some of the local government, they say they don't even see 5 million naira a month at the end of the month from the governors. Now you have 129 million naira. I went to one local government recently, myself and my brother, we went to do something there. And I saw a local government chairman, a local government had bought, fire service vehicle.
Yes.
But you know what? It was refurbished fire service vehicle. Now, when I saw it, I told myself, I said, you see, these people have money now. If we do not give them a reason to use the money very well, it will be business as usual. Why in the world would someone go and buy a refurbished fire service equipment? How long is it going to last? You see, do you know the reason? Do you know the reason? The reason is because of the attitude. The attitude of governance is for you to make money. Governance is not for you to make money. Governance is for you to change the people's life. And truly, truly, you can actually make more money for yourself in governance when the people's lives have changed.
Exactly.
So we need to get back to the point where the people can demand. You have to demand from yourself first. If I become a local government chairman, if I become the local government chairman of my village, already me, myself, I've made up my mind. I was talking with my other brother, he lives in the States, and I was saying to him, I said, see, I'm going back to my village to put up some factories there. And he said to me, I should forget my village. I look at him, I say, charity begins at home. Charity begins at home. You can decide to turn your village to an industrial hub, or it can allow it to be the way it is.
In China, most of the Chinese graduates from secondary school, tertiary institutions, do you think they graduate and fly abroad?
They go back home.
If they study in the US,
yes, they come back home.
They come back home.
Yes,
to implement what they have learned.
You know why? Because China had become industrialized. China didn't used to be like that. There was a time when all the Chinese people wanted to travel abroad. But
just
now
the way we are doing.
Just the way we are doing. See, I keep saying it. I was saying the other day, somebody was attacking me. I said to them, no Nigerian needs to go and die in the Mediterranean. Nobody's kidneys and hearts needs to be sold in Libya as a result of the fact that he wants to go to anywhere. I keep saying it, in 10 years' time, and I tell you, Mr. President has done the right thing in signing AFTA. But you see, it is an industrial race for Africa now. We need to take advantage of this industrial race. Our oil money is not to be shared. Our oil money is to power the industries.
As a matter of fact, we need to refine the oils here. We need to revamp the refineries.
There is no reason, Mr. President, there is no reason. All the members of the National Assembly, there is no reason why
GMD of the NNPC,
of NNPC, there is no reason why we must sell crude. We must stop selling crude.
Yes.
We must start selling petroleum products.
Yes.
That is what is going to prosper our people. Yeah. Number two, the monies that we get from this, we must use to revamp all these Moribund industries that you have listed.
Yes.
If we can just reactivate these industries that you have listed, I'm telling you the truth, there's no graduate that will come out from the Nigerian University that will not have work to do. Because you see, the work is rippling. It's like when you drop a stone in the water, it ripples to the shore. The jobs. We must create jobs. We must take advantage of AFTA. AFTA is not for us to remain the way we are, with Chinese products coming and Western products coming into us. Now AFTA gives us opportunity to be the ones that are exporting the products, because now we can have great agreements with African nations. You know what they say?
South Africa is yet to sign.
Yes, South Africa is yet to sign.
I think it's the only country left.
And let me tell you, you see, we have a lot of free import zones. Free import zones and all that. You see, I agree with import zones.
Ghana and Egypt, they have been there, and Egypt have revamped. Ghana have revamped their economy.
Yes, Ghana is working on it.
That the Ghana cedi is higher than the Nigerian naira.
No, actually, what they did was redenomination. The Ghana cedi is not higher than the Nigerian naira. Nigeria economy is still very relatively good. Now in Ghana, we buy fuel for almost 500 and something naira. Per liter. Okay. Now, if you look at Naira is relatively good, but you see that is not where we ought to be. Okay. We didn't used to be there.
I know.
We used to be in competition with the dollar, better than with the pounds. Not even the dollar. The dollar was a younger brother
because
to Naira.
Because we were productive.
Yes, we
all
were
these
productive.
Industries I listed here, all around in all facets of the Nigerian enterprises, we were productive.
Let me tell you something.
Now, you see one president will come tell you, Nigeria Airways is gone. Nigerian, what do you call it, railway is gone. Nigerian oil company is gone, refinery broken down. How could you build 4 good refineries and you still sell crude abroad? And
because
there's no
attitude.
Do you see any colonial bureaucracy, militating against this?
No, sir.
Unfunctionality.
I understand. I can say this to you that we have a Herculean task ahead of us because what we have against us are nations that have had practiced industries for centuries, okay, that are using us as a ground to showcase their productivity.
Yeah, the way they just import machine generators here.
I keep saying it.
Making noise, polluting the air everywhere.
I keep saying it that you must not import anything complete. You see, our market is our strength.
You must not import anything complete.
Even to start with, you must not import anything complete.
You must come and assemble
them.
You
must
here.
Assemble. You see, because you see, it is the jobs that is actually prosperity. I keep saying that. Number 2, let me say this to you. Remember the granite pyramids of Kano. Yeah. We had a pyramid in Nigeria. We had pyramids in Nigeria. They were not permanent pyramids. Yeah. It was productivity pyramids.
Yeah, we'll be rounding up now because we have just 5 minutes to go. I want you to hit the nails on the head, and you're talking about granite pyramid, yes?
We must go back to where we are coming from. We must look back to where we came from to decide where we are going to. Because like I keep saying, our fathers were not poor. I was talking with a white man the other day, and he said to me, that we were the ones that made ourselves poor. That our fathers were the ones that made us poor.
Okay, how?
I said to him, yes, our fathers made us poor because they assumed that because we had oil that we had become rich. But I told him also that now something has happened, something new is happening. That we now, the children of our fathers, have decided that our own children are not going to be poor. And our children are not going to be poor because we are going to pursue industrialization as our last line of defense. I believe that every state, every local government should become the last line of defense in productivity. We must go back to processing all and every natural resources in Nigeria right from source. The machines must move to the resources. The resources must stop moving to the machines. That is how
the machines. The foreign machines must move to the resources, move down here.
Yes.
The resources must not move down there.
It must
so that jobs will not be exported
yes.
there. Jobs has to be imported
yes.
in. Thank you very much, Mr. Reginald. And I think when I have time with you again, have cause to be with you, you will give me the privilege.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having me.
Welcome. Yes. Well, that was spectacular about industrialization in Nigeria. The signing of the African Continental Free Trade Areas that Mr. President Buhari just signed in Niamey, Niger Republic, the benefit of it and what it will accrue to the Nigerian government. And we believe, and we are also hoping that the prospect will revamp all the moribund industries we have and the economic trade union. Bilateral trade will be signed within the African zones, and probably we may stop importation of goods to create internal jobs, yes. And that is what we call production and job creation. Thank you once again for watching another episode tomorrow. Thank you for being with us.